take American flights. I know they did because when I was returning from the military, I sat on a plane next to a whole bunch of them. And when Americans said, "Hey, we don't like this," Americans basically got told, "I don't know what you're talking about. Everything is fine." What do you have to say about the people that are very still pissed off about that? Did Joe Biden was it acting like a king when Joe Biden was doing it, or is that not the case?
You're asking me, Sid?
Hmm.
Okay. So Joe Biden tried to pass a bill through the Senate, and Seth can look this up, and he can ask AI, he can ask Google, he can ask whatever. But there was a bill authored by Republicans that closed the border, and that was actually immigration reform. What Trump
Well,
did
you're talking
as
about
a
the bill. You're talking
real
about the
real quick
bill.
real quick, sir. What Trump did was say, "Don't pass this bill." He had a lot of control over Republicans still. Said, "Don't pass this bill because I'm running on immigration. I
Wait,
don't
how does
want the
that
problem solved."
Wait, how does that make sense
Facts.
when how does that
Or-
make
or-
sense when one, Trump was out of office for 3 years at that point? Number two, the House Republicans kept trying to pass basically anything and everything, and all their bills that reformed immigration basically ended up being gutted into spending more money on people
Well,
that didn't belong
sir,
here.
I'll explain it. I'll explain
no,
it to you. And Seth can look it up while I do. Look up the Lankford bill, if you guys forgot the James Lankford bill.
Yeah,
But
I
the
know.
reason Trump had so much control over it is because he was the Republican nominee for president.
no, hold on one second. The real reason that bill failed is because there's provisions in there that only lock down the border, and it would only become active once a certain amount of immigrants reached, I don't know what the number was, let's say 5,000 a day. Once 5,000 people hit the border that day, then they would shut it down. That was not a solution to immigration. That was
And
It
shutting
was
that was
Can I
shutting
say
down
something
mass
about
no,
this?
no, no,
immigration
no. It
and
was
allowing a
5,000 a
trickle.
day for.
Hold on, guys.
I
Hold
think
on.
it was five.
I don't think I've
Go
heard
ahead.
from the real. Like, was that who's trying to talk?
Yeah. So
Mhm.
I think the real reason that this bill wasn't passed was because it actually solved one of the big issues in immigration, which is a pathway to citizenship. Right now, if
Yep.
you try to enter the US legally and you try to become a citizen, it can take up to 10 years. And this bill actually funded immigration judges and people who vet immigrants. And that's not what Trump wants. Trump wants people to either come in illegally so they can be exploited for labor for cheap cost. You don't need to pay them. Your employer can have like certain power over somebody who's in the country undocumented, because if you stand up and you either say like, oh, I need a better wage, or you complain about working 12 hours in the fucking scorching sun in some
I
kind
got it.
of
So I got it.
agricultural place, then your boss can just have you deported, right? This is what the Republicans have wanted for a long time. This is how
wait,
Bro,
how it
really?
works.
wait,
Yes,
wait.
this is how
It
it
was
works.
wait,
And
stop,
but
stop,
the
stop. It
Democrats,
was
they
the
propose
Democrats
to
who were
actually have like good I
Well,
think
let him
it's still
cook.
too
Let him
much, but
cook.
like good
he ain't
from
cooking.
a
He's
from a
bombing.
bipartisan view. Huh?
You ain't cooking. It was literally the Democrats that literally said, "Who's gonna pick our fruits and tomatoes?" Like,
Literally,
bro,
that's
that was
why I
the
was
whole.
like,
Yeah,
dog, I
exactly.
think
Because Trump is now deporting everybody that's
Yes,
undocumented.
because
And he's
slavery
not even
is
going
bad
after criminals,
labor.
right? And he said
Wait, wait,
this to
wait, wait,
people.
wait, wait, wait,
He
wait,
said
wait,
this
wait.
to
Wait.
What?
And Trump is suggesting a temporary pass for illegal immigrants whose employers vouch for them as long as they're in
exactly. That's my
hospitality.
point.
And so Trump agrees with what this guy's saying and what I'm saying as well. So let this other guy cook.
He's not cooking.
Look,
He's bombing.
He is, dude. He is. Let him
He's
talk.
not. He just said like 3 or 4 lies I know for a fact from the intelligence
look.
community
You know,
are
one of
not
the
the
biggest
case.
lies that was said in this live, it's that undocumented immigrants take up Social Security. They don't. They don't
did.
get
Where
any
do you think?
benefits from Social Security because they're
question.
literally undocumented. If they're in the country, they pay taxes, right? Because they're working,
they
so they
don't.
pay
They
taxes.
do not.
But they
They do
don't
not.
Well, hold
get
on. I mean,
Medicare. They
not if
don't
they're
get
work. Hold
Medicaid.
on, dog. If they don't got no Social Security, then how that work?
So let me.
I don't know.
Look, they have a fake
Have you ever
Social
heard of
Security
sales
number,
tax?
and they
No.
pay taxes with that fake Social Security number. When the government gets fucking taxes from some Social Security number, they're not going to check if that Social Security number is a real Social Security number. But when somebody comes and asks the government for money with a Social Security number, then it's vetted, right? So undocumented immigrants pay into the system. They pay in fucking billions, dude.
So hold on.
Into the
So they
system,
pay in
but
through
they
a
don't
fake
take it
Social
out.
Security number.
Wait.
So basically, they're committing tax fraud and Social Security fraud and all types of crimes. But hey, once again, though, if we call them illegals, then you guys lose y'all shit. That's like absolutely amazing.
Well, it's a dehumanizing term that's not necessary.
No, it's an accurate term, my friend. That's a pretty accurate term.
Look, it's an accurate term in the same way that speeding is illegal. All right, it's a misdemeanor to cross the border undocumented. It's not a crime. It's literally a misdemeanor in the same way.
No, that's a crime. No, that's a criminal violation. That would be
it's a
criminal violation can be a misdemeanor.
It's a civil violation.
Just like possession is a misdemeanor.
Just like Trump civilly held liable for raping a woman.
Whoa. Sexual assault, friend.
Set. Real quick. Who has? Did you kick that guy?
Nah. He here.
Okay, good.
Let me say.
Okay, wait. Real quick.
I'm just
who has said who has freaked out over you guys saying illegal?
Are you
Look,
serious?
I'm not freaked out, all right? I just think that it's a dehumanizing term.
I'm asking Set.
Bro, I'm gonna be real with you. Almost every Dem I debated on this topic, every time I use the word illegal, they get offended. Say undocumented, not illegal. Say undocumented. I'm just like,
it's more accurate.
No, it's not.
I mean,
but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever. You can call them you can call them illegal. I can call them undocumented. We know what we're talking about. Yeah. I'm not gonna get mad at you. I just, I use a different term. We talk about the same stuff. It's not what's important. The important thing is that Trump is cutting healthcare for 17 million Americans. And that's also increasing the cost of everybody who doesn't need the Obamacare subsidies. People's healthcare costs are gonna get tripled. Because of this government shutdown, if they the Democrats, literally the only thing the Democrats want to agree to pass the budget is that they keep in the Obamacare subsidies. If they don't keep in the Obamacare subsidies, millions of Americans will die because they don't have access to their health care.
No, they fucking won't. And I can tell you
that.
No,
this guy's spitting and he's being honest.
Let me fucking talk. I would like to actually speak for once. Okay, so how we have a debate is we talk and then we let the other person say something. So here's the thing. I'm gonna respond to everything he just said in reverse order. So the last thing he said was with healthcare, millions of people will die. Actually, that's a bold-faced lie. I can look it up right here, right now.
Go ahead.
Go through it with me. Most Obamacare is just a generalized federal type of healthcare. Actually, all 50 states on the books right now. Look up the state of Missouri's state healthcare. It's called MoHealth. It's a state-provided, state taxpayer-funded healthcare for the state. Illinois has the same thing. Iowa has the same thing. California, New York, all state. Hold up.
It's funded by the federal government. You said you could look it up. You said
stop.
No. Real quick, sir. Wait, real quick. You said you could look it up. No, he said he could look it up.
Hold on, let him cook.
Let me finish. Y'all got to talk for a minute. So all 50 states, they have that. Yes, the federal government puts in a minute amount of money, but the vast majority of that money actually does come from the state taxpayers. And you can basically fact check this not only by the state's website, but look at your W-2 whenever you get taxes taken.
Fact check it.
About
what he just said.
Look
about
look up what look up, fact check this, please. What happens when the Obamacare subsidy? What happens to the cost of insurance when the Obamacare subsidies are gone?
Wait, now the
or just a quick one
I wasn't done talking.
Is Medi-Cal Medicare? Because you said California does it. So say, is Medi-Cal Medicare?
I said all 50 states.
Come on,
now, it's apart from the federal government's Medicare, which is usually up under some different president's type of healthcare. All 50 states have their own thing.
No, it's Congress. It's Congress. I know you guys think presidents have all the control, but
says the one who complained about no kings. But anyway,
I didn't complain about no kings. I went to it.
Clean over your head. But anyway, so that's that front. Just because you take away healthcare, that doesn't mean that millions of people are going to die. Here's
yes,
the
it
thing.
does.
Let me finish.
You take away healthcare.
Stop. Just because you take it away, that doesn't mean that there aren't other organizations that have healthcare. Democrats love to unionize. I know for a fact that unions provide healthcare. I know for a fact that different types of veterans and different types of homeless people, I know because I was in that category for a long time, they actually have state-funded healthcare through different types of 501c or whatever it's called organizations.
Yeah. All right, there's different.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Now, guys, hold on. Wait, I'm going to get back to the show on this one. But I do want to put in my 2 cents on this one, though, because where's the healthcare crisis? I mean, people on Medicaid, it's coming.
It's already been there for years. America is the only country in the world that has medical bankruptcies. That doesn't exist anywhere else.
Because we pay for a third of the world's
What are you talking about? People can get on Medicaid if they have low income.
So the healthcare system, Taylor Green.
There's not an exorbitant amount of people that's getting kicked off Medicaid. People premiums, bro. Yeah.
We have Marjorie Taylor Greene agreeing with us on these subsidies. Do you think this is a Democrat?
Bro, this is not about Obamacare subsidies, though. We can, I agree that we need the Obamacare health subsidies, but the problem is that was going to be voted in anyway.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, the CR shut down.
When was the CR? But when were the subsidies going to end? Do you know?
Yeah, at the end of the year.
Okay, we had another CR bill before that. It had a 7 weeks funding. We'd have had another chance to go ahead and get it done. And then here's the thing: the Republicans gave you guys a 1-year extension. They gave you guys a 1-year extension, and now you guys are crying talking about permanent.
Had since March.
Yeah, it should be permanent. Healthcare should be free, dude. Healthcare should be paid for by tax dollars for everybody. It should be one of the basic. It's one of the basic necessities of life.
What is Medicare and Medicaid?
Real quick, Set. They've had since March to negotiate these things, and now they're saying, "Oh yeah, I know that they're ending in 2 months, and I know that people are going to start getting the emails November 1st and throughout November about their premiums going up." But now suddenly you're saying Democrats need to give up all their leverage to negotiate with
Y'all didn't. Y'all got the 1-year extension. Y'all just come on now. The 1.5 trillion in spending is crazy.
They haven't negotiated with Democrats the entire time they've been in power.
Yes, they did. Hold on, bro.
No, they haven't.
Yes,
what does clean CR mean? What is clean CR? Just so we are all on it. Don't look it up. I want you guys that are very loud and wrong. What is a clean CR bill?
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything when they have rescission packages. When they
I asked for definition. I asked for.
All right. Ideally, let me get 1 point before we start the show. Hold on. Let me jump in here. All right. Let me calm things down real quick. And I think I'm going to simplify things really easy so nobody can misunderstand.
All right, 2 minutes and we're back to the show.
Thank you. The first thing, right, is healthcare cannot be free, right? And I was a true believer that hold on, let me get uninterrupted, please.
Cooked, bro.
Right? It can't be free. If you look at the cost of doctors, we could subsidize the cost of all the doctors in the United States. That's possible. But then you look at the cost of actual drugs and procedures and what everything else runs. That's unattainable, and it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. One second, it just doesn't make sense. Secondly, the whole idea of how it doesn't take away from Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid is totally wrong also, because we don't understand. We have these set, we have rules, we have taxes. Government only makes so much money per year, right?
Boom.
And when you're bringing in all these people, yeah, we're not taking money out of Social Security to give it to them, but it's taking up more of the portion of the overall income that we have. That should be going toward debt. And you know what? If we weren't paying for all these people in one way, shape, or another, right, then we would have more money from Medicare, and we can give our people better care and better attention. But it can't happen when we're paying for, even if it's just a flight across, even if we're paying for 10 million applications for someone to sit there and do the application. Yeah, that takes a lot of time and a lot of money that we shouldn't have to pay in the first place. That's where it's all wrong. Is we have a set amount, we have to stay within that amount. There's taxes. We don't just make more money. And I mean, we have been. That's why we're in the situation that we're in, where everybody's tense and everything costs so much. And that's what we don't want. We're saying, hey, let's, we got to figure out our shit here. We got to figure out what's going on first. And then, you know what? Yeah, dude, if we're in a position where we could take on more people, we would absolutely take more people.
All right.
Republicans don't hate immigrants. We want them.
Got 10 seconds. You good?
But, yeah, no, I'm good. It's why you guys just get it all wrong. You're angry before you're logical.
All right, man. And shout out to Foley. Foley was the one with the last word. We'll go ahead and move on to the next segment. And shout out to Need a Lineup. And you know what? I definitely do. But shout out. He says misdemeanor is a crime punishable for for less than a year. Yeah, punishable for less than a year. So yes, it is a crime, a criminal violation to cross the border without proper documentation. And let's see here. Shout out Vladstein. He says, can't you hear the accent? European socialist. Sick my head. I mean, yeah. Hey, the real, he got you on that one. All right, guys, let's get to the next video. Appeals courts. National Guard can be deployed to Portland by the Trump administration. I mean, hold up. Let's get right into it. Whoops.
Some breaking news on the president's attempt to deploy National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon. CNN law enforcement correspondent Whitney Wild is with us now. Whitney, what more do we know about this?
Well, there is a major victory for the Trump administration. They had sought to appeal this temporary restraining order that limited the National Guard's ability to be deployed in Portland. Originally, a district court judge had, as I said, put a restraining order on that, attempted to extend it. The Trump administration appealed, and for now, they are celebrating a major victory because this appeals court, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, the three-judge panel who oversaw this case, has put a stay on that district court judge's order, which means that the Trump administration can deploy the National Guard troops to Portland to protect that ICE facility. This is an important win, again, for the Trump administration, but it is also significant when you look at the totality of how the judiciary around the country.
I guess when they try to say Trump don't listen to the courts, hey, yes, he is. The problem is that the Dems don't like when the courts rule in this man's favor. So now they drop the whole, he's going against the courts too. He's acting like a dictator and a king.
May look at similar cases. The Ninth Circuit is widely considered a more liberal circuit. The courts on the West Coast are largely considered more liberal courts. And so for the Ninth Circuit to give the Trump administration this win, that will put quite a bit of wind in their sails, Pamela, because they are facing other similar lawsuits in other districts throughout the country. One of the points that was made in the majority opinion here, it appears to suggest that there's a lack of assistance or maybe not enough assistance from the Portland Police Department. And as they are looking at the totality of the Trump administration's claims, the totality of a potential risk here, it appears that they do think that the Trump administration will likely win on appeal. And the reason I bring up the Portland assistance is because here in Chicago, the help from local law enforcement was one of the reasons that a judge issued a temporary restraining order on the National Guard being deployed in Chicago.
And shout out to my man Vlad Sting. He says, bruh, judges are the ones acting like kings/lords. Literally. Like, I don't care what crime you committed. Be damned the law. Set this man free. set this rapist free. Well, hey, it don't gotta be a rapist. Set this violent guy, this arsonist free. Why? Hey, man, shout out to liberal judges. It don't matter why. Because they're so empathetic towards people. That's why. A little bit too empathetic. And then trust me, I got empathy too, but not that much empathy.
Point here, Pamela, is that as the judiciary looks at all of the factors here, what is the real risk to an ICE facility? What is the real responsibility for law enforcement in this area to protect them? They are considering the assistance they're getting from local law enforcement and deciding whether or not the National Guard is warranted here. And so, again, this is a major victory for the Trump administration. Our team is combing through this order now, as well as the dissent, to try to get, bring you the most detail about the reasoning here. This is a 57-page order, and the majority, the dissent was another 36 pages, so we're still combing through all of that. But Pamela, in the short term, this means that the Trump administration can deploy the National Guard to that ICE facility in Portland. Back to you.
All right, Whitney Wild, bringing us the latest on that. Thank you so much. And that ruling in Oregon comes just days after the No Kings protest that took place across the country this past weekend. And one of the issues for some of the protesters was this idea of sending the National Guard into cities. And we've heard President Trump dismiss them just today, calling them, quote, small. But according to the organizers, 7 million people took to the streets Saturday to protest and what organizers describe as President Trump's, quote, authoritarian agenda. There were more than 2,000 rallies held across the country. Speaker Johnson characterizing these protests in a similar way and tying them to the ongoing government shutdown.
Now that Democrats have had their protests and publicity stunts, I just pray that they come to their senses and end this shutdown and reopen the government this week. Republicans are waiting, the American people are waiting, and we are ready to act.
All right, our panel is back here. We're also joined by retired Major General Randy Manner, the former acting vice chief of the National Guard. First of all, I'd like to go to you, Randy, on just this latest development that we just heard from Whitney Wild on the appeals court allowing the National Guard to go to that ICE facility in Portland, Oregon. What do you think?
I think it's very unfortunate anytime we have American troops in American cities for made-up reasons. I think it's something where if the administration
made up, I mean, bro, they're literally outside the ICE facilities trying to block any car that comes out. I mean, there is no made-up stories with that one.
Administration is limiting those troops to only ICE facilities. That is still a small and major victory that the National Guardsmen cannot go anywhere that they want. So reluctantly, of course, the court has spoken, and therefore the National Guard will follow the legal orders of the administration.
It's interesting, just again, this crossover of the executive branch and the judicial branch on these really big, high stakes decisions that are unprecedented, right?
Really unprecedented. And what this came down,
I mean, it don't go your way. It's unprecedented. It goes your way. And you see, we told you Trump goes against the courts. He's a complete dictator. It's like, all right, guys. I mean, come on now.
Down to it is this question of whether the federal government is unable to execute the laws of the United States without the intervention of the National Guard. Now, the argument that the lower court had made was that, well, of course, these are protests happening. They might impede, they might slow down the work of the government, but the government's deporting more people than ever before. They're doing just a fine job of carrying out their orders without the National Guard. So the appeals court here.
I mean, the problem is that you got, people who want to stop them. I mean, apparently there's also people who want to shoot them, even though it's only been one occurrence of it. But I mean, God forbid there's another one. But there's definitely people out there who want to hurt ICE, who want to dox ICE officers so they can harass their family members. So let's be real. They do need a certain level of protection, which is crazy to say, because who'd have knew it ever came to this, where we're literally trying to stop officers from doing their job.
Seem to say, and we haven't looked fully through it. It just came out a second ago.
Well, ICE officers from stopping immigration. I mean, that kind of helps everybody in the U.S., but the Dems don't see that because, I mean, the way the left has framed it, we're locking up U.S. citizens and we're keeping them for days on end and they haven't eaten in weeks. It's like, no, 73 hours at most. But no, we're not keeping them in there for weeks.
The people who seem to say, well, no, this is getting in the way of the government's ability to do its job. That language, unable to execute its functions, is going to come up again, whether it's at the Supreme Court or whether it's with an appeal to the full Ninth Circuit, all 11 judges, which I think parties will almost certainly do. I think there's an open legal question still. But, yeah.
I want to bring you in, Doug, because as I mentioned earlier, this idea of sending the National Guard into states against the will of the governors in these states, it's something that has galvanized some of the protesters that were out there in the No Kings protest, right? There was 7 million people around that, according to the organizers, and they were there. I mean, we had reporters there, and the people we spoke to, some of them very moderate views, they're really concerned that the country is sliding into an autocracy for different reasons. And then you have Speaker Johnson and other Republicans. I had Republican McLean on earlier, who were criticizing them and saying that they're communists and that they're small and that they're even anti-Semitic.
And shout out Toe. She says, dude, y'all forgot the part of the military oath is to protect from all threats, foreign and domestic. That includes the National Guard. And you know what? Hey, I agree with you on that one. But like, look, man, the man, hey, apparently he wants to make every place, what was it? Police state. He wants to create police states and police cities. He wants to lock everybody down in their home. I mean, when a National Guard pulls up, he's not telling y'all to stay inside. He's pretty much telling y'all to look, just carry on, but just know we're cleaning up crime with the National Guard. Now, when COVID was popping off, yeah, National Guard was out there putting people inside. But different times, guys. And honestly, hey, if the National Guard got good results in Memphis and DC, then why not keep it rolling? Why not keep the test rolling? It does seem when we bring these guys in, crime gets cleaned up.
What do you make of the way Republicans are handling this?
Look, they're going to follow the lead of Donald Trump and be dismissive of that. I don't think the protests were un-American. Protesting is very American. But I do think that they sort of took their eye off the ball here. And I say that because it was a beautiful weekend in Washington, D.C., and New York and Philadelphia this weekend. And all of those are just across a river from states that have very close gubernatorial races. And if I'm a Democrat, I want those people on one of those final Saturdays going into a campaign, not at a protest. I want them knocking on doors and making phone calls in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, in Union and Bergen County, New Jersey, certainly Northern Virginia. And by having them at a protest, when you're coming down to crunch time in a campaign, seems to me to take your eye off the ball. What I do instead is try and win those races as much as you can, have those volunteers on the ground, do your protest after those elections. If you're successful, then you can talk about the momentum and you can say, look, we've just won these races and all these people are fighting on the ground for us now. I think it's a real missed opportunity.
That's a great point, Doug. And it's not, and even if you
it is a good point, because if you ain't winning no races, then let me be real with you, I just look like a bunch of sore losers. I mean, and let's be real. I mean, at the midterm, hey, look, it's the final hour for you guys. We're going to see if you guys are going to break the curse of, well, usually when if the president's Republican, then the Dems go ahead and take the House and the Senate. Y'all might just break that curse due to the way the Dems have been acting. Like I said, it's like literally the worst Democratic Party in history. But I know I'm going to have some people who disagree with that. But quite honestly, in my personal opinion, this is the worst Democratic Party in history. And it's shown in the voting. I mean, bro, 2 million voters left while we're gaining 2 million. Like, I'm not saying that those 2 million came over here, but I'll tell you this, though. It seems we're gaining voters while you guys are losing. And the problem is you're just losing on policy because you guys aren't coming up with policy. And I'm talking about your main leaders. They're too busy fighting Trump and coming up with ways to help their people.
Get out of New Jersey and Virginia where you've got governor's races. I think a refrain for many people is, okay, what now? You got 7 million people. What now? Did you collect everybody's emails and you raise funds from them? Like, are you going to? Did
you have a website, link a website to where they can see all of Trump's atrocities laid out before them? I mean, where was the structure in this? It seemed like the only structure was just coming out and having a good time, saying F Trump. And I mean, that's cool and all, but where was the message? Like, what was the goal? Was the goal just to be seen? Because then y'all sound like, I ain't gonna lie, then y'all sound like a needy girlfriend at that point, or a needy partner.
Set up a phone chain and have them volunteering in 2028. What now? And yes, the energy and the activism and enthusiasm, like you said, it's American and it's wonderful. But if people really care, even if it's not about those two races, like today, like literally today on Monday, are people just still cleaning up the signs they made, or what's next?
It's a fair point. I wonder what you think, Mo.
No, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. Just make sure you're walking and chewing gum. I don't disagree with that, right? 7 million people around the country, many of whom are not close to New Jersey, not close to Virginia, desperate for an outlet to show their disapproval with this president and his policies and his actions. The fact that they came together was fantastic. Now, what do you do with that energy moving forward is a key question. I also think that the president keeps giving them a reason to mobilize, not just with his actions, but we all remember, wasn't that long ago, that the Republican Party ran an entire campaign against Hillary Clinton for using the word deplorables to describe some Trump voters.
Yeah.
And politically, that was a smart thing for them to do. This president and this speaker.
I mean, Biden kind of did the same thing on his way out, and he kind of sunk it for Kamala Harris. I mean, you know, it's funny. Biden did a whole lot of sabotaging. Like, I know what? I think Biden knew what he was doing. Biden, bro, they was mad. They kicked him out. They pushed him out, and that was his double middle finger to the whole administration. All right, cool. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna have some questionable interviews, and then I'm gonna go out there and completely tank Kamala Harris's chances by. What did he call the MAGA supporters? I'm trying to remember. It was something. It wasn't deplorables, but it was something close to that. That it was like highly controversial. And I think it was like 2 weeks before the election. He said that BS.
And their allies are saying anyone who disapproves, anyone that showed up, and we all saw a lot of those protesters, little old ladies standing on street corners waving signs, are un-American and deserve to have excrement dropped on their heads, as the president showed in that AI video.
Hey, it could have been chocolate ice cream, man. Chill.
Right? If Democrats can actually use that to harness some of the same energy that Republicans did back in 2016.
I mean, yeah, it's a good strategy. The thing is, Gavin Newsom is doing it already, and he's failing. The problem is, though, if somebody different other than Gavin Newsom, who's not a complete failure. I mean, get you somebody who's not a complete failure as a politician, and trust me, it'll work. It'll work. Like, man, look, sometimes I think I need to be a campaign manager for the Democratic Party, like, because that's how y'all gonna get it done. Y'all need S.E.T as y'all campaign manager. Go ahead, man. Send me the contract, bro. I'm gonna make sure y'all win in 2028. Don't worry. We gonna get y'all right. Unless y'all got Zoran, then y'all just cooked. If y'all got Zoran and AOC, I can't help y'all, though. I'm not even gonna doom myself like that. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get some of the guys up here to comment on this. All right, guys.
I want to read something first. I do want to read something that's factual before we get started doing anything else. Constitutional and statutory authority of the president. I'm going to run through these real quick. This is over the usage of the National Guard. Congress. The Constitution grants Congress the power to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrection, and repel invasions. Article 1, Section 8. President as Commander-in-Chief. The President is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, including the National Guard, and has a duty to, quote, take care that the laws are being fully executed. Article 2, Section 3. Insurrection Act. The laws provide most explicit authority for the president to call forth the National Guard to combat insurrection, domestic violence, and invasion to enforce laws. Here's the real important one. The important ones, I should say. Federal control. Under federal control, Title 10, the president can federalize the National Guard and deploy them domestically, often for specific federal purposes like protecting federal property or enforcing laws. The role of the state governors. In most cases, the governors must, not may, not shall, must consent to the federalization of their state's National Guard as they remain the primary commander. Exceptions. The president can federalize the National Guard without Gerber National, meaning the primary custodial state, consent in certain situations, particularly when the state governor is unable or unwilling to restore order and federal law enforcement is unable to execute the law. The District of Columbia National Guard is an exception, as it is under the president's direct command at all times.
What you mean, man? What you mean, backyard? They're just the Gestapo.
Those are the constitutional boundaries. So anybody that says, "Hold up,"
Are you admitting that Trump is unable to enforce laws? He's on.
No, the governors in the states in which he's deploying the National Guard are unable to. That's what he just read, Sid. Pay attention.
Yes, and let me stop, because there's more behind that. So to put a nice, pretty bow on what I just read from the Constitution and Congress's own letterhead, basically Trump is acting well within the boundaries of what a president is supposed to do as commander-in-chief. And since the National Guard is a part of the Department of Defense, he is also acting within the boundaries of commander-in-chief of a military wartime commander. So he is not stepping outside of his roles. Oregon governor refuses to call law and order to Oregon where they're having the issues at, and Trump is stepping in. In Illinois, I'm from St. Louis. Chicago ain't that far. I can tell you from a heartbeat that Chicago is having the National Guard stepped in because Chicago's out of control. St. Louis is the same way. The mayor here in St. Louis, Missouri, won't let the state step in, so now the president has to step in. And the same thing happened with D.C.
I'll tell you right now, St. Louis is not having National Guard deployed there. Chicago is still on stay.
How are you gonna tell me? And I live in St. Louis, and there are National Guards here. Like what? What are you talking about?
He's just talking out of his ass. Don't pay him too much mind.
Yes or no that the president has deployed National Guard in St. Louis?
He's gonna ask the Siri versus a person who lives in the city. That's crazy.
I'm asking you, brother.
Oh, well, yeah, I just told you. National Guard's in St. Louis. What more do you want?
It's just not. It just doesn't get wall-to-wall coverage because it's not. It goes against the narrative that he's not deploying the National Guard to red states.
Deployed by President Trump, National Guard in St. Louis.
Oh my God.
Yes, they're deployed to East St. Louis, North St. Louis, West St. Louis, which are the three hotspots for crime, sex trafficking, murder, and gang violence. Next question.
Right. Just concede. I'm not. I just concede.
Again, I live in this state. You are not. I live in this state, and I live.
All right, guys. We do gotta let him respond. So, Sid, do you have a response to that, or do you concede? Sid,
I don't concede.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Well,
all right. So, what you gotta say then? Go ahead and. All right. So, what's your argument? His son told me he wasn't going to concede the argument.
What's up, Set, by the way?
Hey, man, what's good, Monty? Shoot, shout out my man, Monty.
My argument is Donald Trump has not officially deployed National Guard to St. Louis. I mean,
what the fuck is he talking?
Bro, look it up.
What?
Bro, hey, Sid. Hey, Sid, instead of looking things up on Google, why don't you take a first-hand account of somebody that just told you he is?
How about we look it up right now?
Buddy. Okay.
Dude, we'd all know if...
Go ahead. Look it up. Go to the DOD's website.
About it just like Memphis. That would have been talking about it just like Memphis. National Guard deployed to St. Louis. Are you driving again, fucking Monty? Jesus Christ.
Will you shut up?
Let's see here.
St. Louis National Guard. In late September 2025, Missouri Governor Mike Coho authorized about 15 members of the state's National Guard to report to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement with administrative, clerical, and logistical duties.
Wait, who did? The governor?
Oh, yeah, the governor.
Oh, that's not Trump, right?
Wow, so it's almost like a Republican governor is stepping in so the president doesn't have to, Sid, like he just read.
No, he said Trump deployed them, dumbass.
Okay, so he got one. He got so you're gonna hang your hat off.
Wait. Let me clarify this. Governor Mike Coho is weighing a request from Trump administration to deploy the state's National Guard. So again, I was basically right, and that's off of.
He's weighing it.
So what is your point? What is your point, Sid? that the president can't do it? He just said he could. The Constitution says he can.
Dude, shut the fuck up. My point is that the president didn't do it. Do you disagree? Yes or no?
Oh my fucking
Don't veer off.
What are we talking about right now?
So I think the argument is that, all right, so did Trump actually send them, or was it the governor who sent them?
If it's the governor, even better. That goes to our point even more. That when states fail to act, the president steps in. And let's go in your fucking fairy tale land, because there is, according to him, there are National Guard fucking deployed in the cities. And according to you, Trump didn't do it. The governor did it. That goes to his point. When the states don't act, then it is the federal government's responsibility to act. And that's what's happening. And that's what you have a problem with. You don't have a problem with St. Louis because you said, why doesn't he do it in St. Louis? Then when someone pointed out that it is being done in St. Louis, you're like, well, why didn't Trump do it? Well, because the governor's doing it. Like, what do you want, Sid?
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
That is literally the entire conversation that has been going on.
Unlike you, I agree with I like federalism and I like states' rights. So yeah, if a governor
Bud, fuck federalism. We have a constitution. You say he's doing unconstitutional things. We're pointing out how it's constitutional. Like get over it. You lost the debate. You lost the argument. You lost your credibility. Just move on and stop making yourself look stupider.
Wait, and I'm going to respond to somebody in chat. It says, Dwayne Dillard, you're about as close to Chicago as California. St. Louis ain't Chicago. How you get your knowledge of what's going on in Chicago? You live in another state. Yeah, but St. Louis geographically is really close to Chicago.
St. Louis is like, what, 2 hours away from Chicago?
It's like 3 if you're driving slow.
3, my bad. Yeah, my bad. I've only driven through St. Louis and Chicago, so I only know like the difference between the superchargers.
Right. One's illegal and one's bullet riddle.
Cool. Okay, is he doing it or is he not, Monty?
What is your what'd you say?
Is Trump doing it or is he not in St. Louis?
I don't know. I'm going off of what you're saying. I'm using your argument and making a point off of it.
What was my argument?
Your argument is that Trump's not doing it in Missouri, and my point is, what's the point? What does it matter if Trump's doing it or not? If he is doing it, he's exercising his constitutional authority. If he's not, the state is exercising their responsibility.
The other guy that was talking said he was. So my point was, no, he wasn't.
No, your point is that Trump can't do it. That's what it goes back to, is you think Trump can't do it.
I'm sorry, little bro, but I can make my own point for myself.
That's what you literally said. That's why he was up here reading the Constitution to you, because you have it in your head. So do many people on the left, that Trump is being unconstitutional by doing it. That is the whole crux.
Now, before we continue, there's more that I want to read. President,
can you do it in 1 minute? Because then we're gonna move on.
Yeah, I can knock this out in 1 minute. Presidential powers during a crisis. In the time of crisis, the president can use their authority to federalize the National Guard in a time of crisis when local authorities are unable to restore order or when federal laws cannot be enforced. Limits. The president's power is not unlimited. The Supreme Court has stated that courts may intervene if the president acts in bad faith, exceeds his or her authority, or makes an obvious mistake, such as defending a federal piece. Basically, they list that if they're saying that they need to go and defend like a federal building and there's no reason to defend it, or they're deploying National Guard and there's no reason to deploy the National Guard, it's basically a blunder. And at that case, the governor and the courts can intervene and be like, what the world are you doing?
All right, guys. Now hold on here. But for Sid, I'm gonna let you respond, but I'm gonna let you solely respond for a good 2 minutes. But let me get the super chat out the way. The Guard, let's see here. The Guard is in Memphis, Tennessee, LOL. And you should see what the people of Memphis are happy. You should see the people of Memphis are happy because their kids can be outside. And that was shout out to Tristan Allen. And Tristan Allen, that was meant for Sid because he said, read my message to Sid. Now, Sid, I'll go ahead and give you a good 3 minutes to go ahead and respond because, you know, you didn't really get that much of a chance. So go ahead, dog.
Okay. Well, thanks for reading that statute and proving my point. In Chicago, they are still barred from deploying the National Guard. In Portland, via the Ninth Circuit, they aren't, and the National Guard can be deployed. But I do have a direct call out to Monty, who allegedly hates me and hates talking to me. I've been up here for a little bit now, and you chose to join and chose to come up here and start talking to me. So, what's the deal with that?
All right. Well, we'll get into that later, my man. But all right, though. Let's go ahead and get right back into the video. And shout out to Tristan Allen because I'll play this short little clip before we get into the next video because this is somebody in Memphis, you know, pretty much highlighting the fact that Trump's doing a pretty good job.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I think it's true time. I was against pretty much everything that was coming towards Memphis. I was against this National Guard, all these different police units, all this military, all this shit. I was against all this shit coming to the end, right? Especially when I was the one learning shit about Memphis and how the crime been down 25% than it has in like hella years and shit. Like Memphis been doing good. We just had the most peaceful summer in a long little time. Just for these folks to still come with this shit. I was against this shit, bro. And then I seen the numbers after the first week of rounding up niggas. These folks then got 16 convicted murderers off the streets in 1 week. Black people. I know there's a lot of Memphis folks talking about all the niggas gone now and they over here, the police pulling over all the good, hard-working people. Hey, if that was the case, I'm sorry. But I can't wholeheartedly say they doing a bad thing now that I just seen them numbers, bro. I'm gonna just be honest. And I'm a real Memphis nigga. I love my city. I love once again, nigga, this where I'm at. As I wait on the motherfucking bus, I'm in the heart of this shit. I love this shit. But I would be lying if I ain't just read them numbers and say, damn, that's a good thing for Memphis. So
yeah, I mean, look, man, when look, they said they dropped it by 25. National Guard came in, they dropped it by 50, by 55. So they went ahead and added 30% more on it. Because trust me, the National Guard working faster than the police, and they come with just a little bit more force for those gangs. And you know, those killers out there on warrants. But all right, let's go ahead and get into the next video.
All right, John, thank you. Former Biden Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, meanwhile, turning on the Dems in her new memoir, writing, quote,
oh, yeah, and shout out to my man Tristan Allen, because he said, and Tennessee is a red state, so says Trump, don't deploy to red state so saying Trump don't deploy to red states is wild. It is. I mean, he's also trying to go into New Orleans, and where's that? Louisiana, a red state. Actually, what Trump did was pretty smart by just saying, you know what, since you guys want to cry about, me coming to fix your high crime cities in blue states, which, these high crime areas are also run by, Democratic mayors as well. Let me go ahead and take it to the red states in their high crime cities who just happen to have Democratic mayors.
Biden seemed to be totally at peace
or Democrat mayors
with his decision to drop out of the race. But I was stunned, my feelings a blur. I was angry and sad. I was enraged and heartbroken that this.
Oh, wow. The press secretary literally is coming out kind of covering her ass, and it's actually hilarious.
I was stunned, my feelings a blur. I was angry and sad. I was enraged and heartbroken that this man had given more than 50 years of his life to serving the American people. And in the end,